All right, let's get right to it. We're going to draft the Browns schedule and talk about these football games. Doug gets pick 1, Ellis pick 2, Mary Kay pick 3, Scott pick 4, and I'm going 5th. So Doug, before I hit record, I said I was very interested to see who would go number 1 here. So fire away.
All right. I was very excited to get number 1 in this draft because I have a strong opinion on this. I know we're not doing a schedule breakdown, wins and losses, but I did my own little one. I think that when the Browns host the Ravens on December 12th, both those teams will be 8-4, and it will be a game for the lead in the division. The Browns and the Ravens, the Browns coming off a bye. It is a rivalry. It is two great teams. We remember the Monday night game from last year. It is going to be such an important December game. The whole season will have built to this. And the Ravens have to play the Steelers the week before. The Browns are off the week before. There's this weird little part in the schedule where they play each other, then they're off, then they don't, then they play each other again. They play twice in 3 weeks. This is the second game of that. To me, it is absolutely the game of the year. Maybe they're not tied for the lead, but they're both going to be good. It is going to be super important and awesome December football in Cleveland. That's my pick.
I'm so excited you picked this game. This is absolutely the stretch of games that we should be leading off with, is this Baltimore bye week, Baltimore series of games. I mean, Mary Kay, if I'm not mistaken, when you tweeted out your takeaways, didn't you say something like this could essentially decide the AFC North here?
Yes, absolutely. That was, that was the takeaway of looking at the schedule, circling those two games with that bye week in between and sending the Ravens into Pittsburgh in the middle of that Browns-Ravens sandwich there. And this is going to be it. This is where the AFC North is going to be won or lost. This could determine who makes the wild card, who doesn't, although I think they'll both make the playoffs. But this is such a pivotal stretch, and a huge case can be made for that game being number 1 overall. So I think that's a great pick.
Because Doug didn't take that first Ravens game, I'm going to take the first Ravens game, prime time, in the best case scenario situation. The Browns go into that game with potentially only 1 loss or no losses. They are undefeated. Again, primetime game. It's before the gimmick of the bye and playing them twice in 3 weeks and all that stuff I'm not interested in. That game is ripe for the picking. I was not prepared to talk about it because I thought Doug took that game. So whoever's at pick 3 here is going to get a sweet one. But that first meeting with Browns Ravens prime time, give me all of it. You guys know how I feel about Lamar Jackson and this Browns offense and a revamped Browns defense. It's going to be a blast. I'm
going to go right to it. I'm diving into the opener. I'm going into the Kansas City game here because even though, I think 100% a case can be made for more division games and things like that. I mean, look, it's the opener. They are picking up where they left off the season. They are heading back into Arrowhead, taking on those Chiefs again. And this time they want to go plant their flag and beat this team that they couldn't get past in that AFC divisional game. So much intrigue in this game. Patrick Mahomes probably isn't going to miss the final 22 minutes of the game this time. There's a good chance he's probably going to play the whole game as long as he's healthy, coming off of toe surgery. You've got a better offensive line for them. Their starting running back didn't play in that game, so he will probably be back in this game. Like I said, I think the biggest thing that they did was beef up the offensive line. They really had a hard time protecting him. On the other hand, the Cleveland Browns built this defense with potentially 9 new starters on defense just for a day like this, a sunny day in Kansas City, for them to go out and try to use smaller, faster linebackers and more versatile players and a way better secondary to try to solve Tyreek Hill and Mecole Hardman and Travis Kelce and Sammy Watkins. It's just got classic written all over it. Baker versus Patrick Mahomes. What more could you ask for? It's got everything.
All right, Scott, number 4.
Oh, geez. Well, I think I'm going to go with the Broncos in week 7, Thursday night, the first primetime game. And I'm doing that in a lot of ways because of the games that lead up to it. After that Chiefs game, the Browns have a stretch where they should be favored in like every game. Other than the Bears, there are no playoff teams on that list. It's Texans, Chargers, Vikings, Bears, Cardinals. I mean, that could be a run, and you're coming in maybe on a significant winning streak to play a prime time game at home, potentially with a full stadium. I mean, that's going to be quite a moment for the franchise and for the fans and the Browns, especially if they're, 5-1 at that point.
I'm going to go off my board a little bit here because I have a game at number 3 that I probably should pick, but it's more the aesthetic of it that I would pick that game for. I think we've got to get another division game in here. And I think it's got to be the first Pittsburgh game in week 8. And I wish the Browns were playing the Steelers earlier in the season. I think it would be, we're going to have an idea of who the Steelers are at this point. And if they're not very good, then this game isn't going to be quite as exciting. But, the Steelers are a team that I would imagine 8 weeks into the year at worst are going to be somewhere around 500 at least. I mean, that's kind of who they are. So even if that's where they're at, this is the first meeting since the playoff game, divisional game. It's a home game against Pittsburgh. So Browns fans are going to want to show up and let Big Ben hear it maybe for the last time ever. And so I've got to take Pittsburgh here. I'm going to go off my board and I've got to grab one of these Pittsburgh games at number 5.